With a heavy heart, I'm here to tell you that Stephen Hawking, the famous theoretical physicist of all time, has passed away. He was 76. I had no idea. I thought he was younger than that, but he was born in 1942, and he just passed away yesterday, I guess, and it was announced just hours ago. And he died peacefully in his home in Cambridge in the early hours of Wednesday. He's in England, so they're 8 whatever hours ahead of us. So at the age of 22, Professor Hawking was given only a few years to live after being diagnosed with a rare form of motor neuron disease. So he developed that disease when he was only 22, and he was only given a few years to live, but obviously he lived a long time. In a statement, his children, Lucy, Robert, and Tim, said, "We are deeply saddened that our beloved father passed away. He was a great scientist and an extraordinary man whose work and legacy will live on for many years." They praised his courage and persistence and said his brilliance and humor inspired people across the world. He once said, "It would not be much of a universe if it wasn't home to the people you love. We will miss him forever." A book of condolence has been opened at Gonville and Gaius College in Cambridge, where Professor Hawking was a fellow. And so he was first to set out a theory of cosmology as a union of relativity and quantum mechanics. I wonder if that had anything to do with the unified field theory that Einstein was trying to solve before he died. I mean, Einstein was trying to figure out the unified field theory before he died, and right into the last day of his death, he was working on that. They checked his desk, and he was still working on it. Well, the unified, field theory, I've got an answer for that. I'm going to tell you that in a minute. Okay, he worked with mathematician Sir Roger Penrose. He demonstrated that Einstein's general theory of relativity implies space and time would have a beginning in the Big Bang and an end in black holes. So that was interesting. He did some things on TV and film. He's quite the guy. He was born on 8th of January in 1942 in Oxford, England. Earned a place at Oxford University to read natural science in 1959 before studying for his PhD at Cambridge. By 1963, he was diagnosed with a motor neuron disease, given 2 years to live. Outlined his theory with black holes in 1974. In 1979, he became the professor of mathematics at Cambridge, a post once held by Sir Isaac Newton. Published his book, A Brief History of Time, in 1988, that has sold more than 10 million copies. In the late 1990s, he was reportedly offered a knighthood, but 10 years later revealed he had turned it down over issues with the government funding for science. So he wasn't happy that the Queen didn't give enough money to science, so he turned down his knighthood. "We have lost," Sir Tim Berners-Lee, inventor of the web, said, "we have lost a colossal mind and a wonderful spirit. Rest in peace, Stephen Hawking," he said. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Cambridge, where Professor Hawking had studied and worked, Professor Stephen Toop, said he was a unique individual who would be remembered with warmth and affection. So the guy definitely was a smart guy. What did he discover? Well, with Oxford mathematician Roger Penrose, he showed that if there was a Big Bang, it must have started from an infinitely small point, a singularity. Black holes radiate energy known as Hawking radiation, while gradually losing mass. This is due to quantum effects near the edge of the black hole, a region called the event horizon. Now, again, these are all things that he discovered. He predicted the existence of many black holes at the time of the Big Bang. these black holes would have shed mass until they vanished, potentially ending their lives in an explosion that would release vast amounts of energy. In the 1970s, Hawking considered whether the particles in light that enter a black hole were ultimately destroyed. If the black hole evaporated, Hawking initially thought that this information was lost from the universe, but the U.S. physicist Leonard Susskind disagreed. These ideas became known as the information paradox. In 2004, Hawking conceded that the information must be conserved. So Hawking first said that information was just lost, then he was saying it wasn't lost. Changed his mind. So those were the biggest discoveries of Hawking. Now I'll tell you what the unified field theory is, and I think Einstein knew it, but he couldn't describe it to anyone because no one would believe him. But the unified field theory is very simple. There's an ether that surrounds us. It's homogeneous. It's the power is beyond measure. And this power is homogeneous, which means it goes in all different ways. And it surrounds us. It surrounds the solar system. It surrounds the universe. It is the universe. It's called Einstein called it the ether, but some people call it 0-point energy. Some people call it all kinds of things. But that energy that surrounds us is the unified field theory. It's the thing that combines everything. It's the thing that allows us to travel great distances with a thought. When you go out of body, if you study out-of-body experiences, you can, some people do it. Preston Dennett has written a great book called Out-of-Body Experiences. I suggest you read that. You can go out of your body, you can travel into other dimensions, you can travel inside the solar system in just seconds or less. In fact, instantaneously, you can travel from your body, your soul, your spirit, can travel from your body to Saturn with just a thought. You just have to think. You just say, I want to go to Saturn. I want to go see Saturn. And you will be there in an instant. And how this happens is your soul or your spirit or soul is where all of us were in the ether, and the ether is all connected. It connects everything. Every one of us, everything is connected. Every single thing in the universe is connected together inside this ether, and it's literally a pathway of power that you travel, and everything is instantaneous. Now, this power of the ether is unbelievably powerful. Now, a few people like NORI have figured out a way to rectify this power and use it. Now, if you can rectify it safely, you can use the power to heat your home and light your light bulbs and cook your dinner and you know, whatever you want to do. But the problem is doing it safely. And only a few people have figured this out. Tesla figured it out. NORI figured it out. There's been a few more. But the problem is, if you do it wrong and you harness this power in the wrong way, or it gets in the wrong hands that uses this power for bad, then it can literally destroy the earth. So you don't want to let people have this power that are evil and bad. That's why it's suppressed. That's why the governments of the world, if you have a cosmic clearance, that's the highest clearance there is, secret clearance. They're all told that throughout the globe here, the heads of the secret governments and the heads of all the governments are told, if you do see someone that figures out this 0-point energy or figures out a way to rectify the ether, you need to suppress it. You need to talk to them and stop it, because it's really is for our own good. Because if it gets in the wrong hands, it can destroy continents. It's horrible, and it's not, you know, it's anything is a rock You find a rock in the road, it can be used for good or evil. You can take the rock and you can build a home with it, or you can take the rock and hurt someone with it. So that rock can be used for good or evil. It doesn't matter. It depends on the person that picks up the rock. So that's the story with that. And if the government did build, and the government does know how to do it. They've had the technology for years. Many inventors have figured it out. But again, they suppress it. All right, that's my rant on the ether and the theory of relativity, and of course the unified field theory. That is the answer to the unified field theory. I'm no physicist. I'm an advanced technical person, but I've never. But that's just what it is. I challenge anyone to go ahead, put in the comments, and I challenge you to challenge me on that, because nobody knows. All the greatest minds in the world have never. Stephen Hawking didn't figure that out. Einstein never. I think Einstein knew it. He just didn't tell anyone, because he knew no one would understand it or figure it out. All right, now there's some secrets that that Stephen Hawking had. I'm going to read you a few secrets that no one knows. One of them is he received mediocre grades in school. He was not good in school at all. He got poor grades, just the same as Einstein, same way. He had an aversion to biology, which means he took a liking to mathematics from an early age, but he liked biology better in the beginning. He was an Oxford rowing team. Was on the Oxford rowing team. So when he was young, I guess he was on the Oxford rowing team. Must be before he got sick, obviously. He was only given a few years to live at age 21. I already read that. Helped create the boundless universe theory. One of Hawking's major achievements, which he shares with Jim Hartle, was to come up with the theory that the universe has no boundaries in 1983. In 1983, the effort to understand the nature and shape of the universe, Hawking and Hartle combined the concepts of quantum mechanics, the study of microscopic particles with general relativity, Einstein's theory about gravity and how mass curves space to show the universe is a contained entity. It has no boundaries. So the universe as we know it has no boundaries, because our minds cannot understand the vastness of it. And does it go completely out forever and ever and ever? As far as our minds can understand, yes. But here's something that'll freak you out. That's our universe we're in, right? There's more universes. There's many universes, and this has been talked about. You can look in the Mahabharata, the ancient Indian texts, and you can go back as long, as many ancient texts will talk about this. There's many universes, and I think they're infinite. I don't know, but if you can imagine every universe being the size of the universe we have, and there's many of them, I think that the universe and the universes are limited only by imagination. I think once you leave your body, when you transition into, well, some people call it death, I call it transitioning. Once you transition into, you leave your body's just a bag of water, people. You are a soul, you are a spirit. You have lived forever, and your soul was created when everything else was created. And you've lived before. You will leave your body, and you will instantly go somewhere where you believe you should go, because you're going to create it. So if you're a Christian, you might go meet Jesus. If you're a Buddhist, you'll go meet Buddha. You're going to go where you want to go. If you feel you've done a lot of bad things, you're going to go to a bad place for a while, until you figure out that you can create your way out of it. Read Preston Dennett's book, Out of Body Experiences. It will describe a lot of this. He's a down-to-earth guy. I really suggest. I've read it twice. It's amazing. All right, back to Stephen Hawking. Lost a bet on black holes. The genius Hawking admitted he had been wrong and conceded a bet he made in 1997 about black holes. So I already read a little bit about that. He thought that everything was destroyed inside, but now he changed his mind. Has numerous awards and distinctions. Yeah, I'm sure he does. Children's book author. I didn't know that. Believes in possibility of aliens. Considering all of Hawking's work in cosmology, people are understandably interested in his opinions on the possibility of alien life. During NASA's 50th anniversary celebration, Hawking was invited to speak. He expressed that given the vastness of the universe, there very well could be primitive alien life out there, and if possible, other intelligent life. Primitive life is very common, he said, and intelligent life is very rare. Of course, we threw his characteristically sharp humor to say, some would say it has yet to occur on Earth, haha. So here's the thing, the universe is so vast. There are so many, think about it, you're in one solar system. You know, the chances of life on our planets in our solar system, I believe that, definitely, but that's just our solar system. Do you know how many solar systems there are just in our galaxy? Do you know how big our Milky Way galaxy is? And there's millions of solar systems, just like our sun, in the Milky Way galaxy itself. Maybe even billions. Now, if you look out there, that's just in our galaxy. Do you know how many galaxies there are? And our galaxy isn't that big. There's galaxies much larger than what we have. It's so immense and mind-blowing that none of our minds can understand it until we transition. Then we will understand it. Okay, took zero-gravity flight to save the human race. In 2007, when Stephen Hawking was 65, he got to take the ride of his lifetime. He was able to experience zero gravity and float out of his wheelchair, thanks to Zero Gravity Corporation. The service involves an airplane ride in which sharp ascent and descent allows passengers to experience weightlessness in flight for several rounds, each about 25 seconds long. Hawking, free from his wheelchair for the first time in 4 decades, was even able to perform gymnastic flips. Hawking also booked a seat with Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic to ride on a suborbital flight. But perhaps most interesting about this is not what he was able to do, but why he did it. When he asked why he wanted to do this, he of course cited his desire to go into space, but his reasons for going and his overall support for space travel went deeper than that. Due to the possibility of global warming or nuclear war, Hawking said that the future of the human race, if it's going to have a long one, will be in outer space. He supported private space exploration and hopes that space tourism will become affordable for the public. He hoped that we could travel to other planets to use their resources to survive. So he's saying, you know, the Earth is going to last forever. We're going to have to find another place to live. And he's right. The Earth won't last forever, especially in these maniacal maniacs blow it up that we have for leaders in this world. Believe it or not, one of the best leaders in the whole entire planet that has his head screwed on tightly, of course, is Vladimir Putin. That guy is probably the most intelligent, level-headed leader that has ever existed. Ever. Look for Vladimir Putin. I hope he can somehow get together with Trump and Trump can learn something from him. Trump's a great guy, and he's a great businessman, but he is just not as well-rounded as Putin, I'll tell you that. So that is it. Now, stay tuned. I think I'm going to put one more video after this of Stephen Hawking's final private message, and I'll put that in this video. Please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe. And now for the secret final message of Stephen Hawking to be played right now.